Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Tara Nichol, and she helps working moms and business owners to create their ideal work-life balance, even while working from home. I'm super excited to be able to share her story with you guys today. Thank you so much, Tara.
Yes, thank you, Bryce.
Excellent. To those watching, before we get started, if you have not already, come and join us inside of our free community. I'm going to put some links either above or below the video. It's basically a mastermind where we come together and support each other every single day. So I just wanted to personally invite you. Now back to Tara. What was life like before you got into coaching? Really, what was the catalyst that brought you into the field?
Yeah, so I originally started my professional career in, the normal like corporate office setting and really got into contracts and law and went into being an attorney and worked with a lot of startups and mom and pop shops who really didn't necessarily have the money to hire a corporate counsel, so wanted someone to do some back office stuff, kind of guide them to, certain other experts. So I had friends in the field that were accountants or trademark attorneys, and I really liked working with businesses. And then as I moved through my career and got into benefits and the employee engagement side, I noticed that, kind of regardless of what you offer as an employer as far as a schedule or your benefits, if you don't hone into what your employees are dealing with outside of work, like we're not robots. So on like the working mom side, if you don't really address like their concerns, especially in now, then you're not going to be able to attract them to your company. And then if they come, they're not going to be able, they're not going to stay. They're going to find something else, some other company to work at. So that's really where the coaching came in, is helping moms really navigate that situation, and then also working with the business owners and saying, if you want these people to stay, like if these are great employees for you, then we need to develop a strategy of how you're going to attract and retain them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So, we were talking a little bit before. So, why do you think that it's so hard to find that work-life balance? Because some companies are starting to offer that opportunity, but I still think that's still incredibly challenging.
I think it's twofold. I think one, I think the fact that we don't have a lot of women executives does add to the problem, because it is different for a mom to be a C-suite executive than it is a man. It's unfortunate, but it's different. Like, women are thinking more of the family obligations than a man does. So when a executive and a manager who are male and female have that conversation, they're not always communicating on the same wavelength just because of experiences, right? So we're starting from two people who are trying to solve a problem from different point of views. But I think the second thing is that we've created a corporate culture where the bottom line has to be the goal, and if you're at work, you have to be at work. And yes, that's true. Like, you shouldn't be paying bills while you're at work. But if something comes up, like one of the things I always ask people when we're working on building up their engagement, it says, if you get a call from the school and your child is sick and needs to get picked up, does the fact you have to tell your supervisor that create any level of anxiety? Or if I'm talking to the C-suite, would that cause a disruption, or do you think your employees would be comfortable saying that? And if the answer is yeah, I'd be worried about it, then that's the problem, because you don't want to have a company where the fact that your kid got sick, something completely out of your control, is going to cause you a problem, or it's causing a stressor where you feel like you can't go and take care of your children and be a worker for your employer. So I think that there's still this disconnect with you're still a person, like your work has to be integrated. And once you kind of have a balance, and the way I look at balance is I can be on a seesaw, and I can be a little bit more work heavy on one side, but I can always come back down. I'm not like, it's not so heavy that I can't change it. So, like a seesaw, when there's two kids, they're going back and forth. So if you can do that, be more focused at work and time. And then, after like 6 p.m. for some people, now I'm in my mom mode. and you can go back and forth, then for me, you've created that balance because you can be more heavy on one side or the other and not feel like you can't go back.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. So can you talk about, if someone is watching and, they want to be able to have that seesaw, but the work side always seems to go 7, 8 o'clock. Can you talk about how they can start having those conversations to kind of ease it back closer to that balance time?
Yeah. So one thing I work with moms through is starting that conversation with your manager, but coming at it with, you've recognized the problem and you're coming with a solution. So for example, like when we had all this remote work, people were going back and still homeschooling. One thing I suggested to my email newsletter community is saying, you know, we're home, I have to homeschool my children. They have to be on Zoom school at X time. So for us, it was 3 o'clock. I have Zoom school at 3 o'clock. I can't be available for meetings at that time. However, because I have another person in my house that can watch my children, or I'm a morning person, I'm available at these two other times, either early in the morning or in the afternoon, to schedule this call. Do either of these two times work for you? So what I really like about that method is that you are communicating with your supervisor a problem, which is what they want you to do in most work environments, is to be able to communicate with them. But you're also coming with them with a solution. Like, here's another time I'm available, or, I really can't stay till 7 o'clock on Wednesday because I had to take my kid to soccer. However, I know that his dad is not working on Tuesday, so if Tuesday would work at 7 o'clock, does that work for you?
Mhm.
And it's just, it's something that I picked up early on in my corporate career, that in any situation, if you're able to bring a possible solution to your manager or your supervisor or your boss, it just shows that you've taken the initiative to kind of think through it, and you're willing to have the conversation instead of just, like little kid, I'm hungry, mom, here's my plate, like put food on it, instead of like, I'm hungry, but I want a piece of fruit. Like, it's
Mhm.
just that extra step to show that you are willing to have a more productive conversation, to find a solution that you both can be somewhat happy with.
Mm. Interesting. That's a really good point. So yeah, because when you said, I was like, wow, I think I've only heard two other people say something like that. So that's really cool. I'm glad that you're able to help people out. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, can you start talking about that awareness of, when maybe is a good time to go and approach your employer, supervisor slash boss, and how to really understand what type of solutions that person actually likes to hear.
Yeah, so that's really all about understanding where your boss's communication style is and how they like to receive feedback. And if you if you're in a position, where you've started a new job just because of where we're at, you just kind of want to feel them out. And sometimes you can even be as blunt to say, you know, if I have an issue, is emailing you it the best way to share it with you, or would you rather I call you, or should we set up a Zoom? Just kind of feel it out, because if you're new, it's expected that you're not going to know your supervisor or your manager's communication style.
Mhm.
And if you do get pushback, I mean, not everybody is going to, want to say, I'm going to make accommodations. So if you do get some pushback, or you feel like you can say something like, I can see that my previous request, you still have some questions on my previous request. Should we schedule a time to, walk through it together? Or should do you want me to go on your, calendar or your Zoom calendar and pick a time to talk? Like, don't, it's really easy to be defensive, especially as a mom, because you don't want to feel like your job is making you pick that, but you also don't want to be really upfront and say that right away. You kind of want to, have a conversation, and then in that conversation, if you feel comfortable, say, I feel like when you constantly demand me to stay at 7, 8 o'clock, you're making me choose between, my job and my family, and that makes me uncomfortable. And you can say why. And then, if that doesn't go well and you have the ability to escalate it. You really just have to be your own advocate and know that if the culture where you're working is making it hard for you to have a seesaw, then unfortunately it's not a good place to be long term, which I know it's hard to hear when people are trying to stay in their jobs, or they're looking for new jobs, and they don't want to be picky. But for your own self-care, it's really important. Like I can say that one previous job I had, they still had a pension because it was a union.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I had some friends who saying like, well, you can't leave a job that has a pension. Like, you can't do that. That's crazy. And I said, yeah, but the environment is such that for the long term, I was not going to be happy. So to be at a place, for 10, 15 years, just to at the end of the rainbow get something, which who knows what that would look like in 10 or 15 years, instead of finding something that's fulfilling, and then maybe that does turn into something that replaces whatever I might have received. So I think really what I always stress to employers too is that you need to be a resource for your your employees. You need to be able to say that they're also someone that's going to write good reviews for you, or attract you new clients, because people can do other work. The side gig economy is not going away. People are still going to want to do Instacart and Uber and find things on the side to do. And especially now when people working from home, a lot of companies are going to want to pull those people that you didn't connect with. So it's just being forceful in that conversation, being your own advocate, and then being okay with the fact that if those conversations continue not to get the result you want, that you need to start looking for something else that's going to allow you to have your seesaw.
Nice. And just kind of switching gears, like thinking about like vision in the future. What's the vision for as far into your life as you like to think about?
I like to think that there will be a day in my lifetime where a mom has come to me and told I never want to hear again that someone feels they didn't get a job because they were a mom. There's tons of horror stories out there of like HR managers following moms to their car, and if they see car seats they didn't get a second interview. I mean, there's crazy stories like that still. So for me, if I want to contribute to a world where that doesn't happen, where the fact that you're a mom is an asset, having those instincts, having those characteristics, help companies be more profitable. And they don't care about, your kids getting sick or you not being able to work, 7 or 8, because, that those kind of environments may not be around. We have people that are really into remote working and are morning people or night owl people. So for me, even there's times where I'm talking to people at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, because that's when I'm up and that's when they are available to talk. They don't have their kids around or whatever. So for me, my vision is getting us to a point where nobody feels like the fact that they were a mom is why they are not working.
Okay. That's really nice. You know, what do you have new coming out? So are you working on any conferences, books, courses, programs, coaching?
Yeah, I actually just released a new remote work training program that any company can provide to their employees, and it's a 4-step process of how you can create your own plan to be successful working from home, because it's still fairly new to some people, and it's not something that a lot of people are transitioning to right away. So a brief overview is you want to have your schedule, you want to have your workspace, you want to have your communication style, and you want to have the ability to change, adapt your plan to things that come up. So I just released that new program. I put it all over LinkedIn and on social media, and I'm also offering for COVID 2 free coaching sessions for moms to kind of get a sense of if we will work together well.
Yeah.
Those are going to be great.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I'm glad that you're able to do that. You know, so let me ask you this question. So where can people go to learn more about you? Where can they go to connect with you further to take up those 2 sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. You can book your session at booktara.me. You can check me out on LinkedIn. I'm very active over there at taralinkedin.com. And my website is taranichol.net. You can learn more about my other services. You can check out, there's links to my podcast over there too. And just send me a message on LinkedIn, send me a message on my website, and I'll get back with you. And I'm excited to keep working with moms through this, very unusual times as we go through the summer.
Yeah. You know, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you, Bryce.
Excellent. And you know, for those watching, we thoroughly hope that you enjoyed this and found this pretty valuable. I know that, there's a couple tips inside of there that you can probably utilize today, especially if you're in corporate and you want to get some more time. Also, if you have not yet, come on and join us inside of our free community. We'll put some links either above or below the video. Again, it's a mastermind where we support each other every single day. So if that's you, go ahead and click on the links either above or below the video. Now, hopefully you found this as enjoyable as it was for us to create it. Now, please hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1, and we'll see you.